pit road. Danny Buchan, what a ride this is, and it is on!
Welcome to episode 11 of Pushing the Limit podcast with me, Danny Buchan. Today's guest, we are graced with British Superbike Champion 2022, Brad Ray. Welcome, mate.
Afternoon.
Welcome to London. Morning, afternoon. You've been here for ages now.
Yeah, been here a while.
Yeah, no, welcome, mate. Right, let's get into it. Wsbk champ, goal set, tick. On to the next one now. But how, obviously, you won it on the Saturday's race, didn't you? We're going to talk about this a little bit further on in the podcast anyway. But to be sat here now, British champion, like, obviously, this is what we work for, and you've done it, tick that box. How was it? How was the feeling?
Yeah, unbelievable. Obviously, at the time when you do it in race one, it's hard to let it all sink in at the time because you know you've got another two races on the Sunday, so I couldn't go
big.
Couldn't go big on the Saturday. But no, it was just nice. It was a perfect season for me. I knew at the start of the year that I had a fairly good chance to fight for the championship. The Yamaha was really good for me, and basically just put absolutely everything into it. I knew from the test the December before that we'd be really strong. I knew it'd be difficult with obviously Jason and Taz on the Yamaha as well, but I knew that this was my time to make it happen, sort of thing. So especially after the first couple of rounds, I knew that we was in a good position. I felt really good with the team, with the bike, and yeah, just gave it absolutely everything.
Mate, what was it like the first? Obviously, like you qualified, done all that, went through the weekend as you do. And then what, like when you sat on the grid for race one, was you just like, oh my God, like, please don't crash into me. Please don't do this.
Literally,
Like, was it?
Yeah.
Just get through the first few laps and just see. Because what did you need to do in that first race?
I had to finish 7th or higher.
And Tommy had to
win it.
Yeah.
Or Glenn had to win it if they finished second, then I could be 10th or below or something like that. But yeah, I just tried to treat it as any other race, because if you try and think about it, you end up riding stiff, you end up riding different, you end up making mistakes. So I went into the race, I thought, get a good start, get up near the front, settle in, and then just do my own race and not do anything too silly. I knew where Glenn was, I could see him, so I knew where I needed to finish in the race, which was 7th or higher. Tommy passed me, I think, 2 laps to go from 4th to 5th. But I was just like, do you know what?
Crack
I'll
on.
sit here. Yeah, I was like, I'll sit there, I'll sit behind you, you do your thing. We had a massive gap behind. So yeah, I was more relaxed than on the last few laps to just bring it home.
And what about Shaky? What was he like before the race? Because obviously it's his first time fighting for a British Championship as a manager. Like, what was his advice? Was he just like...
He just said treat it as any other race.
Just don't, yeah.
Obviously don't do anything silly. Don't make massive lunges or do anything that you haven't done all year. Just go out, set the pace, do your own race and carry on as you have been. Don't treat it like any other race, because you will end up riding a lot different and end up making mistakes or doing something silly. So I just got a good start, settled in, and just basically ticked off the laps. That was all. And
then obviously, so you've raced in motorbikes. You've obviously raced for a long time. You started in mini bikes, didn't you? Where did it first? Where was your first memory of a motorbike? Was your dad into it before that, like racing, or like parents? Or
parents have been into it for years. They used to go and watch all the GPs and World Superbikes back in the day. I remember they used to leave on the Fridays or whatever. They used to drop me at Nan's. They used to stay at the Nan's for a couple of days while they went off to watch the racing on the bikes and then come back. But I first ever got a bike when I was 3, I think, three and a half.
So mad.
Yeah, just a mini moto. And I first rode it in the garden at home. It only had a rear brake, which was strange. I don't know why, but
Dad just ultimately just major stitch up. Have a go on that, son. If you can get round the field on that, you're sweet.
He said, "Here's the brake, here's the throttle. When you get to the end of the garden,
slicks in a rear brake,
pull the back brake, you'll be all right." Absolutely flat out into the shed at the end of the garden. Didn't pull the brake, opened the throttle to 100%, and that was it. But yeah, no, I just fell in love with it straight away. I did do football as well as a kid. Quite enjoyed playing football and obviously racing bikes as well, but I chose to go more the bike route because I enjoyed it.
Should have gone football, mate.
Yeah,
more money,
more dough.
And did you live in Lyd then as well? Was it Lyd? So you had the go-kart, obviously the mini track not far. Yeah. My first experience with Lyd was on an Aprilia 125.
You're joking.
My dad took me there and was like, yeah, we'll be all right, mate. You go have a little go on a track day. And I was like, track
team?
Day? Yeah, Aprilia 125 around Lyd.
Did you have warmers on?
Yeah, I was full ready to go, mate. I literally crashed. I got my knee down for the first time and fell off the bike.
Was that your first go on a bike?
That was my first go on a road bike, on my own road bike, my
from
Aprilia.
motocross, yeah.
Yeah. I actually did the super team thing at Ron Haslam Race School.
Yeah.
Little chubby kid, man, a 65 mile an hour on a little CBR 125. But anyway, that, but no, so you literally, so did you ever get to, so after riding around the field at 3 years old, did you eventually did your dad promote you to the track? Did he say, right, come on, let's get you on a little...
He said, yeah, you're good enough now. You get a set of levers and a helmet.
And you've not smashed into the shed?
No, yeah. But no, just went down lid a few times around the track. And then I think you could start racing at 6, I think it was, into like a championship. And started that and just enjoyed it straight away.
And then just gradually increased?
Gradually, yeah. Just went through the different stages as a kid, through the mini motos and then onto the Metro kits they were called. Done a few years on the Metro kits, and then I think we ended up going to Spain on a Metro kit 80.
Because that's where you've got to go, isn't it? Like if you want to go GPs, like your route up until obviously British Superbike was that GP route, weren't it? Like you was going obviously the Red Bull rookies we'll talk about in a minute. But if you want to go to when we was younger, anyway, I'm a few years older than you, but if we was younger, it was like if you want to go GP, Spain, it's got to be Spain.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and because they had like there's a Calypso Cup or Calippo Cup.
Yeah, Calypso Cup, I think it was. Yeah, and that was where it was all at. And I think if you wanted to, like you say, the only sort of thing in the UK was, I can't remember what it was. I think it was Super Teams. Actually, was forever, the only thing. It? Yeah, and then I can't remember how old you had to be to move up into 125s, but I just wanted to stay on the GP route and try and.
So you went to Spain
in there and went to Spain. Yeah.
And then what did you do from there? Did you have to win it or?
I went to Spain for a year. Done the Metro Kit 80, and then I think we ended up coming back to England and done a few rounds. I think it was MRO because I've been in Spain. I didn't get any points on the license. You had to get 10 points. Yeah. So I had to come back and do that before I could then do my license to ride the 125 in BSB. So I had to come back and do some rides in I think it was MRO and Bemsey and places like that to get my points up.
Fastest rookie ever.
Yeah, to get my license.
He's gone. He's
and then that was it. Yeah, just went to BSB in 2011 on the 125.
I don't actually remember you on that. To be fair, I do. I don't know. I don't remember watching that. I have vivid memories of like the Moto 3 or on the 125 then, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't ever remember you on that. I probably would if I saw pictures actually.
Yeah,
but
first year I think it was on the standard Honda, so it's just like a learning year. And that first year, and then 2012. Ended up going to rookies and done 3 years in rookies actually, 2012, 13 and 14. It's weird because I wanted to be in GP so bad that we'd just done like every class that was there. So we'd done BSB when I weren't racing in Red Bull, and when I weren't racing in Red Bull I'd do the Spanish Championship. Mate. So it was like...
Who's paying for that as well? Like, is your old man just double grafting and your mum just trying to make...
Mum and dad just...
That's what I mean. It's mad, isn't it? Like, and you probably did have sponsors then as well, little sponsors.
Yeah, a few little sponsors.
It's like, people don't understand, like, it's like all in, isn't it? So if you had if you was gambling, it's like all your chips,
all your chips,
in. And it's literally. Like, your mum and dad are busting their asses to try and get you to a point where you're successful and earning money. And obviously, all this years later, now you're British champion riding the World Championship.
Yeah.
Back then, you don't know that.
No, you don't. No, it's just a risk, isn't it? But no, they believed in me from the start, and they've put everything into making me successful today. So yeah, it was a difficult time. Obviously, the route was to go GP and try and make something from Red Bull rookies.
And you're just riding that all the time.
Yeah, literally just riding all the time. But the end of that time was. 2014, I think it was. We didn't really get a chance to go into Red Bull rookies, into like the MotoGP from there.
Why not though? Is it a big money thing? Because obviously you could, if you, I'm sure if your dad said, well, look, here's a check for 350,000 euros, they'd have said, all right, crack on.
You probably could have done in Red Bull maybe.
Like to get into that, even into the GP team, then like into a MotoGP
Spanish
team
Championship was the same. Like to do the CEV, that was 250,000 euros to ride for a good team in there. And you think, you can't be doing that. Where do you even find that?
Doing that? Yeah. Who is doing that?
It's crazy. But yeah, that was a chance, and I thought, right, we hadn't made a route into GP that way. We ain't got the hundreds of thousands of pounds that you need now. So it's sort of go back to BSB, back to Stock 6, which I went in 2015.
Was that, who's you running for then? Motorbreakers?
Motorbreakers,
yeah. I do remember that.
Done a few rounds with Motorbreakers towards the end of the year.
Big Sean and the boys.
Big Sean.
Yeah, ledge. Yeah,
he's a good old boy.
Yeah,
he's
love
good
that.
old boy, just, And then, from there, it was sort of like, right, the GP route's not out of the question, but we've got to find another alternative to maybe make a way into Moto2 or something like that. yeah, just went to Supersport in 2016.
Who helped you make these decisions? Was it just like you and your dad, like, right?
Yeah, basically, just
how do we? Yeah.
almost what we could afford as well.
Yeah,
Like Sean was real good. He done us a really good deal on the bike. Like you can have the bike for free, sort of thing. Just pay your tyres and fuel and entry.
Which is a massive help in that year.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Tyres and fuel. Entry's still expensive,
mental,
but to give you a bike to be competitive on, and even the structure of like, obviously you'd have had the awning and all the infrastructure of the team. Like that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
just made such a difference. So yeah, we just done that for the year, and I thought, right, okay, we'll make a step into BSB, into Supersport, and maybe try and do that route.
I remember that year. That was the Fab Racing bike, wasn't it? With the white bike with the red levers.
That was it.
Yeah, I do remember. Because you and Mason had good battles then, didn't you?
Yeah, real good battles.
Taron,
really enjoyed that.
Taron in it then that year? Or was that the year?
2016, 26. Yeah, he was WD-40, wasn't
yeah.
he?
Was that the year he started kicking your bum?
He?
He started kicking your ass, didn't he? And then he got out of it.
Yeah, that was
no,
it.
but didn't you start late, or did you have a bit of a weird start to the season?
I had a real bad bike. We bought a second-hand Yamaha. For 2010 it was. And we bought it off.
It was antique.
Adam Blacklock, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it used to be Scott Redding's old like practice bike from when he first joined Motor 2. So it was a proper, had some work.
Yeah.
And
it's not been ridden to church on a Sunday, has it? Let's face it.
It's been upside down a few times. But we set off with that, and it was all right. But there was something fundamentally wrong with the bike. It was horrendous. Like,
the front's here, the rear's here.
It felt like that. It felt like that. So I think we'd done the first 2 rounds on it, and I said to Mum and Dad, I said, look, there's something real wrong with this bike. If we can't fix it, or we're not running like another bike at the next round, I said, I'm not even going to bother turning up, because it's a waste of time, it's a waste of money. We was paying for our own fuel, tyres, all that sort of stuff. And I said, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
So my manager at the time, Roger Keys from Fab Racing, he said, right, we'll buy your bike, because his son owned like a Yamaha dealership. So he bought a brand new 2016 R6, converted it to race trim, got the engines done. Went straight to, I think it was Snetterton, with the new bike. I think I ended up qualifying on the front row and got my first podium of the year on that bike. And
it was like boom,
that is like night and day better. And then from there onwards was just competitive, like always fighting with Mason and Taz for wins and podiums. I think I ended up 3rd in the championship that year, 1 point behind Wsbk, because he crashed in the last race of the year, and I had to win it to beat West in the championship. But Taz picked me to the line on the last race. He's done me that. I think he's done that
30 kilos lighter
2 or 3 times. He's done it in Motor 3 out of Clearways.
Awful bloke.
And he's done it twice in Supersport.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah. But yeah, no, I enjoyed that. And then from there, the plan was to actually, obviously we've got all the bike, the infrastructure, everything to go again. So I said, right, because I've never actually won a championship. I've never done enough in one championship
to have a proper stab.
To have a go. And I said, right, we're going to stick to Supersport, go into 2017 with everything, and have a good crack at the championship. So everything was sort of under control and ready to go. And I actually got a call from Stuart Hickin on Christmas Eve. It was. I was out for breakfast with mum and brother, and I had a missed call, and he left me a voicemail, and he said, "Hi, it's Stuart Hickin here from Bill Base. Just sort of want to know what your plans are for next year. We've potentially got a superbike ride for you if you're interested." I was like,
"What? Oh. Yeah, you got the right number, mate."
Yeah, I was like, "Are you sure?" So I went back inside. I was like, "Mum, you never guess what? I just had a call from Stuart from Bill Base. He said he's got a superbike ride for me." I was like, "What do I do?" I was like, "What do I do about that?" Because my idea was to do Supersport, because I knew I'd be really competitive and have a chance to win the championship. But I've always done it, gone into a championship, started to do well, and then moved to another one, and then done okay.
So you never fulfilled your potential in one championship?
Never felt like I've done enough. So I thought, right, it'd be nice to get a championship under your belt. But I thought, how can I turn down a superbike ride? Like,
you can't.
Nothing to pay for.
No.
Like, just went in, had everything, and obviously back then you wouldn't get paid, but it was nice to actually go in and get something for free. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, not if your mum and dad having to look for money and do this.
I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. But it took me about 2 weeks to decide.
Did it? Did you tell him that? Did you phone him back?
Yeah, I said, I'm just gonna speak to mum and dad, and I sat there and I thought, right, am I doing the right thing here? And I woke up one morning, I thought, do you know what? I can't turn down a superbike ride. That is.
How old would you have been then?
2017 it was, so I'd have been
like 18, something like that. Younger? Oh no, because you was the youngest BSB race winner, weren't you? 18. Then that was 18, weren't it? So you was probably 17 then, were you?
No, I was young. No, I was older than that.
Older than that.
I was born in 97.
Oh, I can't work this out, mate. My maths ain't.
19. I think it was maybe 19.
Yeah.
19 at the start of the year, and then I turned 20 in May.
That was the red and black Suzuki.
Yeah,
Susie.
that was it, standard
Sousa.
one. Yeah, it was like a it was like
She's like a hybrider.
hybrid. Yeah, she was a hybrid one.
But I genuinely think, like the fact that you weren't on an overly competitive bike for that year, learning and doing what you did on that bike that year, I think even all these years later, like it impacts so much on. Like you learn the limit, don't you? Like on a
massively.
bike, because all of a sudden you get a bit more power, and you like don't have to take the risks in a corner now.
Yeah, 100%.
And you learn so much on like like if you look at Johnny Ray on the Honda for years, he was so used to getting his ass kicked in a straight line that when he got on the Kawasaki, it was like
game changer.
Yeah, wasn't it? He's just like, oh, I won that. Almost like it looked easy. I know it worked, but I think do you think that was fair to say? Then you just sort of learnt first 100%. Year. Was you loving life? Because you were teammates with Al, weren't you, as well then?
Yeah, teammates with Al, and Bill Base. Yeah, we had a good laugh actually that year. But yeah, like you say, it was just like a massive learning year. I went in, I didn't have any pressure, so I felt like they just said, go out, learn Superbike, learn how to ride it. Because obviously from 600 is quite a big step. And I think the first couple of rounds, I did crash my brains out. To be fair, I was just pushing the front so much. Like wasn't riding like a superbike.
Carrying loads
of
lean
angle, loads of entry speed, just grabbing the brake, tucking the front, and I was like,
hate this.
This is not good. I need to like calm it down a bit and start again. So yeah, it was good. It was a good year, but I learned so much to be, like you say, to not be on like a full superbike, more of like a hybrid, and I learned a lot from doing that, and obviously no pressure as well. It's just go out and have fun. They sort of said at the start of the year, we'll do a year with you in Bill Base and then move you up into Suzuki team the year after. So just use this as a learning year, learn your trade, and then the next year we'll put you on the full superbike with all the Yoshi bits and have a good crack.
Nice to have that security though, being like, look, if you just, but even though you'd say about not putting pressure on yourself, was you like, mate, I still need to perform? Like, because as a rider, people say about pressure, don't they? So as a rider, you put pressure on yourself anyway. You don't want to turn up and be last, or you don't want to turn up and have a rubbish weekend, do you? And it's like, no matter if the team's going, don't worry, mate, calm down. Yeah. Don't smash the bike up. It's like, was you literally just swooping in?
Oh, I think where did I have my worst one?
Mad lean angle.
One was at Brands Indy, actually. Second, I put a new rear in, actually. Probably a little bit
old front.
Silly. Old front, brand new zero rear. And I went out and went into, it would have been into clearways as Indy is. I went left, right, and as I went right, I just grabbed the brake and just went silent. And it was just like bang, 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 like absolutely annihilated the bike. And I thought, Brad. Because I crashed that morning as well, hit the engine casing on the left at Graham Hill, tucked the front, crashed obviously in Donington in the wet. And I thought, I'm going to end up getting a flick in a minute. I can't stop crashing.
Imagine if if a team sat it down and was like, right, listen, there's a new thing in BSB now. Like, we're going to charge you for your crash damage. We've got to. Like, there's no. Imagine being a right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I asked my team before, I was like, how much is that? Like, what is that? It's like, oh, yeah, that's $5,000, that's 15, that's 20. Like, oh, God. Like, imagine having to pay for your own bike if you smashed it up.
It's like them wings on the BM. They're something stupid, aren't they?
Oh, I don't know. I used them as ram bars.
Ram bars. Knock one off.
Yeah, like, it's a few grand. Yeah. It is like that. And imagine, like, as a rider, you just don't. It sounds really ignorant to not understand. But I don't think you would ride the bike the same if you knew how much it cost to fix.
No, you wouldn't. And that's
like swing arms and that.
Oh,
you don't even want to know, do you? I think that weekend that McCann's had, that Alton Park weekend, where Taz broke his leg, Jason got took out. That weekend for them was probably the worst weekend of their career. I wouldn't even know.
Bankrupt most people, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know what Steve was like. I reckon on Monday, Steve was just doing some mad deals on the bikes.
Got all his cars up for sale.
Yeah, he's just selling bikes. He's like, look, this bike's supposed to be 10 grand. We'll do it for half price. We need to get some money in the bank.
We need to get some revenue back in,
He's like that. And then you come out, didn't you? 2018, it was like, bomb, here I am.
Yeah.
Did you have a good off-season? I can't remember the off-season of 17 off-season. Because obviously then 18 you come out, didn't you? And you just literally done the double Donington,
yeah. No, it's pretty chilled off season. I put a bit of work in because obviously it's the first year of Superbike was 17. So obviously in the off season of 17, like the winter and start of 2018, it was a lot more I had to do training wise and the way I went about things. So I felt good. The first test of the year, I think you would know, it was freezing cold, wasn't it? The first test.
I can't remember. Was that the Donington?
2018 Donington.
Yeah, I don't think anyone rode, did they?
No, I think we done like minimal laps. Yeah. And then the race weekend as well, that was cold. That was quite a cold weekend. But I felt all right on the bike. I think I qualified 7th. And just got a real good start in the first race. I can't remember if the first race was, because the second race was like a dry line. And the first race was...
iffy.
Yeah, iffy.
think,
and the first race was completely dry, but it was real cold.
Yeah.
Like freezing cold. And I remember I got a good start. I got to the lead and I thought, I'm feeling all right here. I thought, like, this is weird.
I don't know what's happening.
And I think it's because it was the first round of the year. Everyone knew how bad Donington was. Obviously, Crane is dangerous, and then in the cold conditions, everyone sort of maybe wasn't riding at 100%, but I was. So I was like, I'm in there.
Whatever, yeah.
I was
Probably
like,
didn't do a bad thing keeping heating the tyres and everything else, did it?
But yeah, I felt good. And then I think I had a lead from Ellison, and Shaky was coming back through because he got a bad start. And I had a lead from Ellison for about a second. And I think there was about 3 laps to go. And every time I come past, it was like 0.8 and then 0.6. And I got the worst arm pump ever. The last few laps, I was like, I couldn't shut off down Craner. I couldn't squeeze the brake. And I thought, can't just hold it together. You've got a couple more corners. And I remember braking into the hairpin on the last lap. And all I heard was this Ducati going, and I as I tipped in, I had a little look and I saw the red bike. And I thought, oh no, Shane's there. I thought, oh no. And I thought, right, one corner, just backshift, get it in, and then just like drive out the last corner. But yeah, it was just like an incredible week. And after I had that done, I felt a lot more relaxed for the rest of the year. Like,
because you went on to a string of podiums anyway, didn't you?
Yeah,
you was like second at Brands
good.
or whatever, and third. And
race 2 was the same. It was a dry line. I got the whole shot, got out in front, and then just like run my own race.
I passed Shaky on the last lap or second. I finished 4th in that race.
Did
actually,
ya?
I got a bit of a bad start and I come back through. And I think I had a problem in the first race with the bike, and I didn't do a very good lap time. Ended up like 12th, and in the second race I come back through and I passed Shaky down into Old Hairpin off that.
I bet he
off
weren't
the
happy,
rubbish.
was he?
it was just, mate. You could tell he's so experienced. He was like, mate,
yeah.
I've not got much more than this in these conditions right now. I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
But I was like, come on.
For us youngies, we're like, come on.
Yeah, come on. At that time, I was being paid bonuses, like points bonuses from Nigel. So I was just like,
was ya?
I'm getting that invoice in there. I was doing the invoice on the in-lap, mate.
That is quality.
Yeah. And did you think that after having such a like incredible start to that seat, like did you feel like, did the pressure start to mount up? Was you like bloody hell, I'm doing all right here? Like did you start to expect more from yourself? Because when you're having them results, you're kind of like, oh, this is all right.
Yeah,
this is all right. But then you're like, well, actually, I expect now to be top 3 or top 2.
You do find that. And
my 4th's bad, whereas it ain't even like that, is it? 4th's good.
No, and it got to a point at the start, especially at the start of the year. Obviously, the double at Donington, I think it went to Brands, set pole, and then was second in the second race. In the first race, and then I think the second race was wet. But yeah, like I think we went to Alton after that, and I finished 4th and 7th, and I was fuming. And I was like, what's happened? Like, what's going on? And the team said, look, we'll take that. You know what I mean? It's 4th and 7th for the second year. Like, you've just got to realise that it's not always going to be easy. And I think that not the pressure got to me, but it's funny when you join Superbike, people sort of know who you are a little bit, but especially with like the social media and the Eurosport and all that sort of stuff, that they got the double, and then everyone was like, boom, 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 can I have this? Can I have that? Can you do this on the Monday? Can you do this on the Tuesday? Can we have an interview? Like, and you're like, whoa, I just want to
hang on, man.
Bike.
I don't need all that. That is something that comes in it with BSB.
Exactly that, yeah.
Like learning to
manage. And for me, it's like
that.
massive. Obviously, Supersport, you'd get a little bit of, you'd have a few interviews and that, but literally, it was like, whoa, what is going on?
Mate, you look at a Sunday now, and it's like you wake up, you like get up, say you get up at 7 o'clock, you have your breakfast, whatever, you go and do your warm up at 9. Then you've got like something to do, like PR.
Yeah.
Then you've got like race 1. Then you've got like no time between race 1 and race 2 to eat.
Yeah.
And then
exactly,
you've got like, you have your lunch at race before, you talk with your team, you get ready for race 2 on the Sunday. And then before you know it, you're in your van going home or your car, and you're like,
where did that go?
What's happened?
Exactly.
Like, you win races and you're like, and then like you say, oh, come here, do that. And it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's really difficult, isn't it? Because managing that, like managing the PR side of things anyway, but then like obviously you've got fans. You don't want to upset fans. You want to spend some time with fans, but it's so hard on a race weekend to get that time with people where like you watch the golfers or you watch like the tennis or whoever they may be, they just put their headphones in and out, look, not now, like I can't do it.
Yeah.
And you feel horrible doing it because these people have come to watch you. But mate, you have to, don't you? Because you've got your job to do. And it's so mentally distracting anyway, racing.
Yeah.
Without having to do everything else.
Yeah, no, it is hard work. And I think that's the biggest thing that you have to get used to, like real quickly, especially there. Like I got chucked in a deep end there. But I seem to sort of manage it a bit more from the middle of the year onwards, understood it a bit more and almost you have to put it into your schedule a bit, don't you? Of what you do on a race weekend and how you manage everything like that.
It's not just about FP1, FP2,
yeah,
FP3.
you got this in between.
Yeah, you actually like, wow, I've actually need to schedule my race weekends 100%, now.
Yeah,
because when you're like Supersport or Superstock, you just go, oh yeah, just whatever, innit?
Session, a little bit of debrief. Yeah. You've got 4 hours to wait for your next session.
I'm going to sit in the motorhome, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, nowadays is especially, that's the one thing I learned a lot last year was just I stayed so relaxed. Even
well, you are a relaxed person.
I'm relaxed anyway, yeah. But I just went with the flow sort of thing. I enjoyed riding my bike, and then I actually enjoyed doing the other stuff as well. Because if you start thinking it's a hindrance and it starts to wind you up, then you end up sort of attacking the weekends a little bit differently. Whereas I was just quite chilled. I'd done my session, get back, have a bit of food, and I'd have the Bennett's thing to do. I'd go there, grab a coffee with them, have a chat, and then see some fans. And it was just like I just almost put it into my routine of race weekends, and it was a lot easier doing it that way. But I actually enjoy sort of seeing the fans and that, because they're what makes it, aren't they?
Exactly, man. Without the fans, we wouldn't even probably get paid.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it was nice. It was nice to do that this year, and actually felt really good.
And away from the circuit, what you like you just double chill.
Yeah, like, pretty relaxed.
I know you got your budgie. What's your budgie's name?
Gertie.
Yeah. I actually might. I show my daughter the video of the budgie because I swear I'm gonna have to end up getting one.
Oh mate, she is the best thing. Like,
didn't you bring her to a racetrack last year?
She comes to every race.
But mate, it does say on there like no dogs are allowed. It doesn't say no budgies are allowed.
You know what I mean? So she was in the cage all the time. Whenever mum and dad come down to the carriage, she'd put her in the cage. But when we obviously got back, they would just get her out. And
that is hilarious.
Mum and dad's shoulder, sat in the chair.
Such a
honestly,
random thing.
It was so weird.
Right.
We had loads of people come along. They'd walk past. I can hear a parrot somewhere. I can hear a parrot, and she's just sat in the camper just squeaking. It was so funny. But no, she's good. It's a lot, like, it's quite time consuming. Like having it. Well, some people obviously with birds and that, they'll just get them out for maybe an hour or so, and then they'll be in the cage for the rest of the day. But
you got to be on it with birds, haven't you? As well.
We're the opposite. Like she comes out like whenever mum and dad gets out, 6, 7, and then she's out pretty much all
She
day.
does what she wants, mate.
Just sits on the chair.
We're not talking about Essex birds either. We're
No.
talking about birds. Birds. We're talking about Tweety Pipe birds, aren't we?
No, she's bang on, to be fair. But
how old is she?
I think she's 13 now.
That's mad. How long do they live?
Well, this one can live up to 50 years.
She's there, mate. She's going to outlive you.
End,
she's coming. Yeah, I actually really want to get a bird, so I'm going to have to start researching birds. Are you switched on with birds? Not a female bird.
Not female birds.
Are you switched on? Are you switched on though? Do you know what you need? Like, do you know what bird do I need?
Depends.
I want one that's a little bit loud, but that I can sort of cover over. And then obviously I need one that I do want one that can talk a little bit, but doesn't require loads of time to be there because my wife is at home. Well, yeah, we could. Yeah, all right, go on.
Depends what you want. Like talking one, you'd have to get like an African grey or something like that.
All right, that's it then. They're expensive.
Yeah, about £2.5 grand.
But they're all right though. They like a dog. It's like having a dog.
Yeah, they are like having a dog. Our one's a little Senegal, it's called, and she's got like, my dad's a favourite. She absolutely loves Dad, but if I try and go near her or try and get her off that, she bites me.
Oh mate,
yeah, she's bad for that. She's bad for biting, but obviously you've got 2 little kids, so you have to be careful.
No, that'd be right. Maya's braver than me, mate, with animals.
She'd probably chin it.
Yeah, we used to have a bird. Weirdly, talking about birds, but we used to have a little bird, and it used to, mate. It's so weird to say it, but it had a proper little personality.
They do, honestly.
It's so weird. Yeah. It used to come over and it'd just be like, touch me, like, come on, rub your finger on my back.
Just walks over and sticks his head down.
Yeah,
as if to say, go on, give us.
You could make a real weird clip out of all the stuff we're saying, like, but we're not going to do that. So, but you did bring it to racing then?
Yeah, every race, yeah.
Is that what changed this year?
Yeah, that was what it is. Just went round there after races and had a cup of tea.
Double relaxed.
Saw the parrot, chilled out.
What did change for you? Like, what did you? Because obviously you had a real tough time on the BMW, and again, like talking about the resilient side of things, like with racing, like you obviously rode that bike to your limit and it didn't go to plan, and obviously things happened during a season, and then you got in the yams, and did you just get on it and go, wow, this suits my style straight away? Just felt
really good. Yeah, the BMW was a difficult bike, and I think after having like a couple of difficult years, I think the last year of Suzuki was quite difficult, 2019, and then I joined TAS Racing, which is obviously Cinetic now.
Yeah.
In 2020, that was like a short year, the sixth round.
Yeah, weird year with the COVID and that.
I done it, yeah. Then I obviously moved to OMG the year after, and I think I had three difficult years on the Suzuki at the end of it, and then the BMW for 2 years. That I was sort of like not over it, but I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting like the breakthrough and why.
Didn't you have an injury though on the BM? Didn't you have like an
I had a
off-season-
little bit of like
like
a
niggling,
wrist injury, which help is better now for
which
sure.
publicly weren't really known. You weren't really
No.
moaning about it, were you? Like,
No.
which is funny because the first thing people do when they're having a bad, I'm injured, my hand's falling off, and it's like, mate, come on, you've literally got like a paper cut in your arm.
No,
It's like, can't do it, can't do it.
I just tried to manage it. Yeah. No, like you racers always got some sort of injury, some sort of niggle. You just have to get through it, don't you? But yeah, it's just a couple of difficult years, and when the midway through, I actually went all right on the BMW in the OMG days. It wasn't. I had a few podiums, a few sort of decent.
We battled it out for the
rounds.
showdown, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
That was savage,
Yeah,
wasn't
where
it?
was
That
that?
showdown,
Silverstone, wasn't
Silverstone. It was like me, you, and Brooksy, weren't it?
Did
We
you
all
get-
had like
did
an
you get
average.
in?
Yeah, I got in, and Brooksy did actually.
Fuming.
But if I passed the person in front of me,
I remember that actually.
I don't think Brooksy would have got in or something like that. It was, I don't know what happened.
How did he turn it on that weekend?
I don't know. It was a mad one. It was a weird old weekend, weren't it?
Because I remember
I crashed out of race one. I was like, showdown's
that
done.
was it, yeah.
I'm out, and then
Yeah,
I
you
showed up in the
crashed
last
out
race. Finished fourth in the last race. Got me in.
Yeah, no, I think I was about 7th. But I remember going into that weekend. I thought, right, I should be. I've got a good chance.
Race one,
here,
you was like
'cause
third.
Brooks,
You was up in like
I was like,
third.
Brooks isn't like that. Got that much pace in a minute. If I can just do this,
Hmm.
do that. I remember doing race one, and I come across the line. Brooks was leading, and I was second. I was like,
I was watching the big screen.
I was like, how have we ended up in this situation? Like, I've got to try and beat him now to try and get in the showdown. He's just turned it on for this weekend.
Mate, I was going through the left, and I was in about 10th place. Race one, sorry, was not very. Me and Vickers come together at the hairpin, and we both went down. The next race, again, used to battling for the podium. I'm there in about 10th place going, oh shit, these two, oh no, like what's like, and in that moment it's like, right, head down, just keep going. And then obviously eventually things change and you sort of come back a little bit, and I was like, this is great. This is great for the showdown, not for you.
Not for me, no.
And then last race I was like, I've just got to go out and hang it out, man. And that's what I did. But yeah, it's
I
how
can't
mentally
remember how I
draining was the whole,
finished.
like, do you know, like, it's trying to explain to people, like, it's so hard, like the overcoming adversities, and like you go down and you win in the races and your podium and the Suzuki, then the next year it's not as good, and then you go on the BMs and it's bad, and then it's like you win the championship now, it's just like the whole,
it's crazy.
Like every single rider out there, like people criticise people on social media, didn't they? Like Johnny Ray's getting criticised now because he's not winning well, and it's like, mate,
what has he just done?
And what are you doing to these people? Like, what are you hoping to achieve? Like every one of us mentally, whether we're resilient or not, like suffer, don't you? Like with like the highs and the lows of it. Like the worst thing people can do is start giving you shit on social media, innit? And it's like, it's disappointing, but to overcome that,
it's a big thing, isn't it? And I think I learned that a lot with age, you know, like growing up a bit. That
you sound really grown up saying it.
Yeah, well, definitely not. But no, you do over the years, just experience, innit? Like I think this year was my 6th. Yeah, it would have been my 6th year in BSB. So I've like done the highs, like wins, and then like the lows, and you think over the years you just come to like understand and find like a balance of how to deal with race weekends, how to deal with like the pressure of race weekends, performing, because ultimately there's always a lot of pressure on you as a rider to perform. But
and each session on a weekend
each
is
session,
the same, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
Each lap we take is dangerous, and
you just got to go out there and almost do what you know you're capable of doing, and just basically go out and enjoy riding your bike. That's what I put into this year. Like
taking some more notes down of each podcast guest. I'm taking it down.
Taking it in a little voice note.
Thanks, Brad Ray. I've won the championship this year. This is you, mate.
You just
I
sort of took it back to the old school days, like 125s and first sort of starting, where I just literally went out, not caring the world, and just rode my bike as fast as I could, and I took that into this year.
And you was enjoying it though, weren't you? Your crew, like your team, you was
Yeah.
bantering with your crew chief.
Yeah.
You had your team bosses who were fun, and you had that like the camaraderie, like the morale in the team was
And
good.
I felt
weren't it?
good like all year, and I thought,
got
you know
on, it was
what,
good,
that's
and-
like that's the way. And it is hard to, if you're having a difficult year and a difficult bike and the team's not gelling, it's hard to keep your morale up in yourself.
You think, why am I doing
Yeah,
here?
you think,
like,
why am I doing this? But
when your team's like goody, you're like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
we don't care. We have a bad one, we'll come back.
We'll come back. Yeah, no, it was just like a perfect year. I think it was needed for me to now move forward and hopefully sort of carry on the way I was this year as a rider into World Superbikes.
But what people don't get as well is like the gamble you've taken. People are like, oh, why is he doing European rounds? And let's face it, if you stayed in BSB next year, this year you'd have probably got a lot more money because you've proved yourself.
Yeah.
So you've took a pay cut, let's say, effectively, to go where you're going.
Yeah.
But the reason you've done that is because the opportunity is a bigger opportunity. And okay, you're doing the European rounds. That's what was available. Who cares?
Yeah.
If you can prove yourself in this, which you're probably going to do anyway, because you're no slouch. Like that's obviously going to be your way into World Superbike, and it's really funny. But like for people that don't understand it, like yeah, tactically it might not look good on paper, but it's still a good move.
Oh,
And
100%,
I think,
yeah.
And how was it? Like obviously you got onto the
I
you
had
got
my first
onto the-
test. When was it? When was the first test? Portimao.
yeah. How different were the bike?
Yeah, it was strange because obviously it's a Yamaha. Like, if you look at it, it's identical to my BSB bike. But I got on it and I done the first couple of sessions, and I thought, you know what, this is quite a bit different because I think the setup of the bike is a lot different because of the tracks in Europe. Obviously, BSB
So
tracks are so
fast,
different
flowy,
compared to European tracks and the world tracks. But I think as well the bike direction is maybe more towards, say, Top Rack's riding style, which is like...
Which is brake at the 10-metre board.
Exactly
at
that.
150 million
Put the
bar.
head degree like right underneath
literally
you.
drop the brake,
Yeah.
full gas at the apex.
Full send.
Nobody rides a bike like that.
when you see the Yamaha, when you think of a Yamaha bike, you think, right, it's just big corner speed bike, let the brake off smooth.
Yeah.
But that bike sort of transformed a little bit to suit his riding style. So I think they run a different frame to what we run in BSB. Different sort of bike setup, but it's just the biggest thing was electronics. Like the engine braking was a lot different. It's corner by corner now.
That's incredible as well.
Which is so much better. Obviously, the traction control is the biggest thing for me to be able to learn.
But even setting up like the engine brake and the traction and stuff for you corner to corner,
Yeah.
like, it requires a massive shift in what you're doing.
Yeah,
innit? Like,
100%.
because our brains work on engine brake, gear, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You're now thinking engine brake, gear, corner, throttle,
Everything,
power,
yeah.
think
Yeah.
you've got so much more to get used to.
Yeah.
So in terms of like your experience, like you're going to need this first year, really, aren't you, to get yourself right? I think we're going to see some good results, especially at this. Like obviously you like Haref, don't you?
Yeah.
That is
I
on the
know,
world.
we don't do
you not do
Aragon.
Haref? Oh, Aragon's
yeah,
still good.
Yeah, no, I enjoy
Mate,
that.
seeing you around Haref would have been mad actually, because you
I
were
like
quick round
Haref,
there.
yeah.
But the Aragon, you probably know quite a lot of European tracks.
I think I know most of them apart from 2 or 3.
Mm.
So I raced most of them anyway. But that's obviously the good thing. I know it's only Europeans, but the job I need to do in this year is to obviously prove myself in World Superbikes, and being in the Europeans only, it's obviously taken a bit of pressure off for me
because you know the tracks.
to have a result in the championship and things like that. So,
But ultimately,
just
you know what
gonna
you're going to do.
yeah,
And you know, even if you, for me, if you just have a progressive season, like
Yeah.
where you're like, oh yeah, I'm starting off at the back now, but midway through you're up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
front or mid pack,
Yeah.
it's still hot, mate.
Yeah.
The names in that field is stacked, and
it's
it's like,
crazy.
although Bautista's at the front gone at the minute, it's still like,
Yeah, no, it's
it's
mental.
stacked
I
full.
know I need to be sort of near and where I need to be and the people I need to be riding with. So
who's your first target? Give me his name.
Baldazari.
Yeah, Bautista.
Bautista,
No.
yeah. Yeah, I'll have a go
All right,
on
mate.
that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. What I'm gonna do is just outbreak Top
Just
Rack in one
let him
session.
have it, mate. FP1 out of the pits.
Down the back straight.
Yeah,
Aragon,
just
outbreak him.
just literally let him have it. Top Rat might be listening to this. No,
He
he
will.
might not.
He'll
He
be
definitely
laughing.
won't be. He'll be like,
I said that to Losey actually. I said to him, I said, I'm just gonna
You wait.
outbreak you. at
Losey
some
getting
point.
it as well. Nah, I think though that you can. Yeah, I think, mate, like you've won British Championship, like Muck. Like,
Yeah.
Once you get that steady progression, you've got to learn, obviously, innit?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
once you get that, like the experience side of things,
Yeah, it'd just
hopefully
be
you do
massive.
enough.
It'd just be a big experience. But yeah, I've just got to get some decent results. Obviously, do a good job. I think it's progression. Show that I'm progressing throughout the year.
Is the
and
team's
then-
plan to go World Superbike again the year after, full
Yeah,
calendar?
I think so. Yeah,
As such,
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the team want to do it this year. That's the annoying thing. The team have got the budget and they want to do it this year, but it's actually Dorna in the championship that couldn't make it happen this year.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's just one of them. Yeah,
Mate, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But listen, you're gonna probably get on it. Twister back. It's gonna
You're
be good
on
to see
up
you.
there.
Yeah. So you got Assen. Obviously, he's gonna be your
Assen,
first round.
Yeah. I'm excited for that. I haven't been
Mate,
to
I
Assen
love
for-
Assen.
Well, when did we last go?
We done it
BSB?
2020.
Was it
before
2020?
COVID. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Me and
Yeah.
Bridewell done Brooksy. Brooksy, if you're listening, we absolutely flogged you at the. Yeah, it was a good race actually.
Was it 2020?
2020?
Are
I'm
you sure?
it was my last year on the Kawasaki. Yeah, 2020. Because I'm sure. When did we have COVID? Oh no, 2019. Because 2020 was COVID.
Suzuki last year. I went to Suzuki.
Because 6 years, 6 rounds, we didn't do it, which would
Yeah.
have been 2020.
Yeah,
So
2020.
that was 2019.
Yeah. Cool, that's a few years ago.
That's a long time. Oh, mate. But if you literally close your eyes now, and started visualising the track,
Yeah, I
you
know
know where
where
you're
it
going.
goes,
It's
yeah.
mental, isn't it?
I can't wait for that. Do you know that out the like the back section.
Yeah, coming onto the
that fast right, because I'm sure them boys are tapped through there on traction. So I'm just going to have to light
do you
it
hear it or do you feel it? Because like on the Stocker you can hear it as well, like the
yeah. I actually done a bit of time on it in Portimao, so I went out and built into it, and then I said to the team, can I just have traction on quite high so
Just
I can understand, basically understand what's going on, and you can feel it and hear it as well.
Bizarre.
So it's quite nice, because I didn't know at first if I was riding into it, if I wasn't, but I turned it up, rode into it, and thought, right, that's what it feels like. I can feel that's like cutting and taking too much power out. So it gave me more of an understanding of what was going on. But
what's your throttle trace got to be like?
Well, for me at the minute, it's like BSB, and it's slowly getting there. But like, we've done a bit of overlaying with for people that don't understand, I overlaid with Locatelli, and
he seems quite smooth.
Was at a first gear corner, and he was 60-degree lean angle, which on Pirelli's is mental anyway.
Full lean, that's full lean.
And 100% throttle. He just went from 0 to 100%, and that was it. And I just looked at it, and I was like,
and that's at the part of the track.
Like, if you yip up there, you're going upside down.
But you wouldn't even think you'd want to even get to 100% before,
no,
because basically what Brad was saying earlier, weren't you, was that as you go down the real steep drop at Portimao, and you go through that fast left into the tight left there, weren't it?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, like I couldn't even imagine trying to get to 100% throttle before the next ride.
No,
because
it's crazy.
Surely the bike would absolutely tie itself in knots. You'd just be...
Well,
maybe that's what you're doing wrong, Locatelli.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry, mate. I'll be on a consulting fee. I'll come and have a look at the data.
But no, that to be fair, that was the biggest thing, that I actually got behind a few people out on track, a few good doers, and my corner speed was really good. My entry speed was good. Everything was okay. But it's just from like mid apex to exit. They just went,
can you just see that, like that?
And I'm just like playing with the throttle, and they've just gone boom, 100%. It's just like pulled the bike them straight away, and it's every corner they're doing that.
Oh,
so
I'd get brave like straight away. I'd get so confident with that. I'd be like, and then I'd be on my ass.
There's that corner before turn 12, going that downhill left.
Oh,
I watched Verge down there on the Honda, and he went down, and he just chucked in. The thing went completely sideways on the locks. I was like, oh no,
he's gone.
And it just went all the way up the hill, and I was like, hey.
He's loose, like, isn't he? Yeah. He was loose in Moto 2, weren't he?
Yeah. But it's just crazy, like the electronics and everything like that. For us in BSB last year, like engine braking and that, you think, I need to do engine braking for second gear. And you think, it might help that corner, but it's going to hinder that one.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's actually like, right, I can improve that corner without hindering turn 6. So it's like, it's learning what you need from each corner and each track. So
it is mad, yeah. Like the electronics in BSB. So for those that don't know, we run a Motec system, don't we? Which is like pretty much like a basic thing to keep costs cut down for everyone. But there's only a certain few things we can change really, and the engine braking is done per gear. So if you've got 2 second gear corners with different RPM, you have to find a happy medium, don't you, with the engine brake and the power. And whereas with what you're talking about, you can have every single corner.
Different
RPM, different engine braking, different power modes.
Different power modes,
different traction, obviously.
Yeah, everything, yeah.
So there's literally like
Game Boy,
5, 6 things, And then when you go to GP, it's even...
That was the one thing at
the race
at the
fuel,
test. The team were like, just go out and do a run and like have a play with traction, have a play with engine braking and throttle maps and that.
No
and I went out and done like 5 lap round coming. And they were like, how'd you find it? I was like, do you know what? I didn't even change anything. I was like, I just totally forgot. Like I was just riding.
You need to ride
into it and just riding sort of to what it is. But I actually done a few stints where I was like, right, I'll do the power map. Yeah, that's worse. Okay, I do that one. Yeah, that felt better. And then it's like you're just constantly playing with the buttons to try and find like a direction to go.
So you need so many more days than the others, don't you? Because they're racing now and had their testing and had 2 race meetings. So it's going to be difficult. But once you get that experience and mate, because you've got so much. You've got to find the limit on that bike. You've got to learn your limit on the bike. You've got to learn your strong points, your weak points, and every other thing.
It's gonna be just be a bit massive learning year. But
what's the main goal? Not for the season, but for the like for life. You want a GP or World Superbike Champion or?
I'd like to be World Champion. Yeah. World Superbike Champion would be nice. Obviously, the dream was always to be in GP and go that route, but I think it's going to be so difficult to make that step.
Now,
and I think. The direction I've been going, obviously with BSP for so long now into World Superbikes, I think I'd like to make a career in World Superbikes and
bikes as such,
and do a good job there and hopefully just make a good career out of it, enjoy riding, and that'd be it.
How's your off season? You've obviously had a good off season in Spain, didn't you? Just flat tracking, looks sick like that.
Yeah, I've done a bit of time just before Christmas with Wardy, went out there and done a bit of flat tracking Supermoto, and then I went back out with Taz early Jan for a month out there. riding flat tracker trials and cycling and just like
Living the dream, boy. That
getting
is
away from this weather.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you come
Yeah.
back to the cold.
Oh,
I've got my
mate.
kids here now. I literally can't go. I used to go literally like January time. We'd just pack up, mate, and
Yeah.
go take the dog, and we'd just be gone to
Happy, innit?
Spain. But
So
then
good.
now Maya's at school. She's 5 now, so we're here, mate. We can't take her
That's
out of
it.
school for that amount of time.
I'd do it.
I'd get fined. I wouldn't be able to afford to live.
You can teach her, can't you?
I could teach her. I know loads, mate. I know loads of things. I can definitely teach her quick math.
Quick round.
Quick math. What? Who did you look up to in racing? Like, obviously, did you wait? Was it like Shaky in the years, and then he's managing you, or like who? Like who was sort of? I'm going to throw Shaky under the bus now. If it's not Shaky, you're a horrible person.
Yeah,
mate.
you'd be listening to this, and you better say it.
You
boy.
better say it. Yeah.
I think
Who was your idol when you was growing up? I
it
know.
would have been Rossi.
Yeah, I was going to say it's
always-
so
it's-
easy, isn't it?
Yeah. Rossi was always the one for me. That what he done and just how he was on and off track. Like
Yeah.
he was just like a person you looked up to and wanted to be, and just enjoyed watching. But yeah, I've always sort of like respected Shane a lot for what he's done over the years, and it was weird because like the first year in Superbike, I remember sort of being there and obviously getting a chance to race against him was like massive. He's like,
I remember that.
he's
You're
like the
"Oh my
best,
God, I'm here."
best in the
Yeah.
like.
Oh my God, he's on next to the grid. Fucking know what I
literally,
do. Yeah.
Um,
Mum, help.
and I remember him at one of the rounds. I think it was maybe 2017. He saw me outside the camp and he was like, "All right, mate, do you want to come for a cycle in a bit?" I was like,
I've made it.
"Oh, I'm going cycling with Shane Byrne." I was like, "What?"
He done that to me. That's
Yeah.
how he lures people in, mate.
Yeah, and then he's like turns your head, and then
Yeah,
after
then he,
that,
like, fries you up.
game
Oh,
over.
God
Yeah,
damn it, I
but
should've
then
gone
after
cycling.
that, it was like, yeah, went and done a few cycles.
Because you're
that
fairly,
year.
not fairly local, but you Kent, both Kent boys,
Kent
didn't you?
boys, and we kept sort of kept the Kent boys together. But yeah, and then after obviously raced with him in 2018, we had a few good battles, and he beat me to the line at Brands India. I led him for 28 laps, made a mistake into
Wise
turn
old
one,
Fox, mate, just sat behind you.
and literally all I heard was "boo, boo"
Yeah, and
every
you're just,
corner.
"Oh, I
and
hate
I
you."
thought, and then he beat me to the line. I was like,
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah.
But
It's
nah,
it's
we had
experience,
a good
isn't it?
crack, yeah.
And
Yeah.
racing them boys with no experience, it's like when you've not got the experience, like now you can sit behind people who you're a bit more experienced
Yeah,
than. Like, I
yeah.
know what's going to happen. I know this is
100%.
unfolding. But
Yeah.
like when you're back then, it's like you don't get starstruck. But I know what you're saying. You sort of sit on the grid and you're like, oh my God, there's Brooksy, there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so.
Yeah,
I remember
100%.
looking at like the garage boarding and being like, wow, like I'm on there now, like I'm on the garage boarding.
Yeah.
And then it was like I was at, like near the last garages, and I was like, I'm the last garage, and the garage orders are basically on championship
Yeah,
order,
yeah,
innit?
yeah.
And so the goal always is to move down
Yeah,
closer
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
100%.
pit lane exit. And when you start making it, you're like, oh my God, okay,
Look who I'm next
oh
door
my
to.
God, I'm at the front now. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like it is
No, it's mental.
it is crazy. Like, but so have you watched the Marquez documentary with
I have, yeah.
and what did you think of Rossi in that? Because I'm a
Savage,
Rossi
innit?
fan, but then but I've always been a Marquez fan as well. And
Yeah,
obviously they
yeah,
had
I'm a
mad
bit of
beef,
both,
didn't
yeah. It's hard to sort of know what the crack was there,
they?
really.
Oh,
I know,
It's like he manipulates the cameras. I was like, oh,
yeah,
shit,
it was
son.
savage, wasn't it? Like Marquez went
Vale,
in,
Vale.
Rossi went in on Marquez, but I do think it was a bit naughty of Marquez to do what he was doing
Yeah.
a little bit because he knew what he was
Oh
doing.
my
He was
God,
helping
you're Valentino
Lorenzo.
through and through. You're,
And I was,
oh my God,
get
you're a
up there.
horrible
Oh, yeah.
person.
Oh, yeah.
What about when he ran into the light? Like literally looked over his shoulder and like his foot slipped off and it looked like he kicked him.
Do you know what? I'd have been a bit like that. To be
Kicked him
fair,
off, would you?
no, I wouldn't have kicked him.
You're
no.
awful, mate.
I'd have given him a little.
Would you
look.
give him a little silent kick?
Yeah. Silent
Silent
kick.
kick. Bah!
Yeah,
I'd have just
yeah.
been like, no, mate, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Don't happen in BSB, does it? Any of that?
Nah.
Can't have any of that. Get shut off.
Yeah, you would.
Imagine
yeah.
being like motocross, you actually have tear up, and like I imagine it'd be carnage, wouldn't it?
Well, that's what
Be a
makes
good
me
spectacle,
laugh.
though.
You know, like arena crossing that, they literally smash into each
I
other,
know.
knock someone off, and don't get no penalties, no nothing. You
Imagine
think-
it'd be carnage.
Yeah.
Imagine like motocross if you got like, dads fighting each other and that.
Yeah, could you
Just seeing it
imagine?
unfold, it'll be a spectacle. People just come, mate.
I
People
reckon
just-
that'd be good ticket sales. That
I think they should do like hockey. They should just ref the fights.
ref it.
Get Stuart to come out if it kicks off, but like right end of pit lane after the race, we'll sort this out. Stuart comes down, blows his whistle,
Blows his whistle.
see what goes on. Leave your
That'd
gloves
be-
on,
could you
helmets off.
imagine?
Imagine.
Oh,
Imagine
mate.
after this podcast, it just goes like that.
Goes viral.
Yeah.
People start
Who
fighting.
wouldn't you want to fight on the grid?
Who wouldn't I want
Yeah.
to fight? Oh.
Or who would you want to fight? Taron, because he's small.
Yeah.
Definitely Taron.
Who wouldn't? I don't know. Who wouldn't I want to fight? I don't know.
Who do you reckon? Who'd be-
I'm trying to think who's on the grid now.
You know, because you're in the group chat.
I am, yeah.
You're not being kicked out. You're not allowed,
No.
are you? You're in there for the gossip
I'm in there for the gossip.
and the banter.
I was going to leave it at one point because it was annoying me, but I've just muted the
It's
chat
actually
instead.
that's what I've done. I've muted the chat.
I've muted it, and I go on it sometimes. It's got
Yeah.
like 150 messages.
Right, we ain't going to pick on who you're going to beat
No.
up in the paddock, but who? What motivates you with racing? Like, like some people are motivated by money, some people are motivated by status, some people are motivated because they don't like losing. Like, what's your
Yeah.
motivation?
I don't like losing.
Yeah, you genuinely just
like want to win and want to just be successful and like do the best job I can.
Does that motivate you with training as well? Like,
yeah,
all your training
100%.
and stuff.
Yeah. There's little things like I done this. Where was I at? I was doing something at home, like a gym session or a cycle or something, and I said to myself when I was doing it, I was fatiguing. I felt like, oh, it's this hard. And I said to myself, I think I had about 20 or 25 minutes left, and I wanted to keep like a certain watts at this like thing. And
you like cycling?
I like cycling. I thought I want to keep this certain watts, and I'll finish it. And then I was fatiguing. I was like, I'll just back off and settle. And I was like, no, do you know what? I said, what would you do if someone like Ducati tapped you on the shoulder now and said, right, you got to hold 350 watts now for the next 5 minutes, and you get a World Superbike ride?
Yeah.
I was like, right, that's it. And
Doing
instantly
it.
I was like, boom.
Yeah.
You find like this next thing, and I find it. I do that a lot in training and with everything, that I always like find something to motivate me.
Gigi D'Alenia on your shoulder.
Yeah, like just
In your
looking
living
at
room,
me,
looking
just
over
like
you,
chatting
like,
away, saying, like, here's a factory.
Come on,
Ducati.
Bradley,
Yeah.
pull your finger out.
Yeah.
That weren't Italian.
But no, it's
Can we just say, was that actually 350 watts? That's a lot for you because you're like, what do you weigh? Like 75?
70 kilos.
70.
71, yeah.
Mate, so
I'm
that's
losing it.
you're quite good at cycling anyway.
Yeah, I
you
enjoy
cycling,
cycling, yeah.
And that's shaky. Was obviously.
I done a sprint the other day on my watt bike.
Have you got a watt bike?
1950 watts.
Jeez,
Sprint. Have that.
I'm not very strong with watts. Do you know what? I'm not. my fitness. I like
You're
doing.
running, aren't you?
No, I don't really do much. I do a bit of running now, but I've been doing more cycling this off season. But just a varied like training plan. Really,
yeah,
like, I
I
do
find that the
rowing,
best,
gym, cardio. Like I just do a bit of everything really. And
Yeah.
for me, that feels like when I'm on the bike my best. But
Yeah.
I think, mate, like, but you can't like you put in the effort. Obviously, you was doing everything you need to, and you come out on top. And like, I think it's really important, even when the years are going wrong, you've got to just stay on your course.
That's the
like,
biggest thing in it.
people go like, because some people can eat clean for 3 weeks and they go have a bad race weekend. They're like, oh, it's because I've eaten clean.
Yeah.
It's 'cause I don't know.
It's
But
not
if you
that,
just stay on that trajectory and you've picked that and you stay in it, and believe in yourself, I
That's
think
the
that
biggest
ends
thing.
up, innit? Like,
I think the one thing that Shane always said to me, he says, as long as you sat on the grid and you know you've done enough training, like you know
you're ready.
You know you're ready. You know you've done enough. There ain't no one on the grid that's worked harder than you. Then you're mentally in a good place. But if you pull up to the grid and thought, do you know what? I ain't trading for 2 days. Like maybe I should have done something because I just sat there and watched TV all day. Like
you like EastEnders, didn't you, as well?
no, not anymore. No,
No.
I haven't watched it for
That's
about a year.
Oh, that was one of my questions. That was.
Yeah. It's bad, isn't it?
That is
I'm
bad
gonna
for
get
you.
into it now.
I don't even watch it, mate. I literally.
Shane's religious on that.
Is he actually?
Yeah,
I bet he likes Corey and Emmerdale as well,
no,
doesn't he?
it's just EastEnders. He's like an omnibus. He'll sit there and watch
Is he?
six
Just
episodes
on the
of it.
Sunday,
Yeah.
just bosh, bosh, bosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no, it's not a bit me, mate. The old EastEnders.
Is it not?
Mind you, I'd like to have the time to do that.
Shut
Do you have the what bike Atom?
Yeah.
Banging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what did you Zwift on it?
Yeah, Zwift on it, yeah.
Oh, I'm big into the Zwifting. I like.
We'll have to do,
We'll have to do a little
group
Zwifting.
ride, yeah.
Yeah. Well, didn't we do them before in lockdown? Weren't we Zwifting?
I
'Cause,
think
like,
so,
we've-
yeah.
like, there's
Done
loads-
quite a few,
there's
didn't we?
loads.
Yeah.
But
I'll be up for that.
mate, we'll hit this section of it's called track review. Yeah. So it's basically it's just a little thing I've put in. Yeah, like just a couple of questions about what's your favourite track. It starts with
In the world or UK?
everywhere. Worldwide.
Well, wow.
Mr. Worldwide.
Suzuka.
Oh,
What?
mate,
She's
Suzuka
naughty.
is the
You know that,
sickest
don't you?
circuit.
Oh.
I actually think that is my favourite
Yeah.
circuit, genuinely speaking. Like, I keep asking guests about this, but I think that is the best circuit.
Oh, mate.
Mate, that 1, 2, 3, just 4, and then you go over the left.
That long left.
I want to do Suzuka this year,
Yeah,
to be
how
honest
good
with
would
you.
that be?
I'm going to try and do it. I've got to speak to Philip about that. Philip, if you're listening, mate, I'll text you later.
Takes you later,
Or I'll ring you. And what's your most memorable moment of Suzuka? What's your most memorable moment of the circuit itself?
The circuit itself. Whoa. I think the most memorable bit would be hole shot in the race. I'd started the race
So
in
nerve-wracking, isn't it?
2019 it was, and we qualified 9th on the grid.
What bike was that? The
The S-Pulse Suzuki.
that was a
yeah,
good bike,
with
wasn't it?
Bridewell.
With Tommy, yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good bike, that was.
And I sort of like I stood there on the grid and I was looking about and I thought I can't see the lights or anything. I don't know when we're supposed to start running.
This is the weirdest thing.
And I thought,
innit?
right, there's a Jap next to me. I thought when he goes, I'll go.
But you'll smoke him up.
And
Longer
I
legs.
shot off, jumped on the bike, started it, and got a whole shot from ninth. I was like,
It's dodgy as well, Nick, 'cause everyone pulls out. So
Yeah.
when you run to the bike, everyone pulls out.
Literally.
So you have to go down like the furthest point, didn't you?
Yeah.
Not, yeah. And you done it in the Yoshi bike, didn't you?
Yoshi bike, yeah. Sylvan
So that's
crashed
like
that year.
proper factory bike you was on.
Oh, mate, we had a good
Like, that
chance
is
of being
ac-
on the box that
Mate,
year.
that bike.
The Yoshi bike.
But that's proper factory. Like I
Yeah.
know that other thing you was on was bloody good, but
Yeah.
that Yoshi bike, mate.
The funniest thing as well, it was me, Sylvan, and Suda, which is the Japanese rider. who
Was that in
rides
your
for him.
contract with Suzuki, by the way?
No.
So you just
We just
used factory team.
Yeah,
Then
we
they said,
spoke with them. Yeah, and I had to do a test at it to make sure I was quick enough.
Oh,
But yeah, no,
that
we'd
bike, that track, the
what did
whole lot.
we woke up on the Sunday morning to do the 8 hour and had a
think
meeting with all the Japanese.
This was when I was there that year.
Yeah,
I was there that year.
and sat down and there was the boss of the team went, right, Brad and Sylvan, you're doing the race. And I looked at Sylvan and I was like, you what? He was like, you two are doing the race, you two are the fastest, Suda's not quick enough. I was like, oh,
4 hours each, boy.
I was like, we've got
Don't worry
4
about
hours
that.
each,
Oh my
Sylvan.
god!
So,
And they
yeah.
1 hour stints, didn't they?
1
Just
hour
less than like
stints,
58
yeah.
or 55.
But he
minutes.
ended up crashing in I think it was like the second hour or something. But he ended up tucking the front.
You were doing well, weren't you?
We was up in third, I think
Yeah.
it was, with the leaders. And then he come in and he was a little bit injured and the fairings all smashed up. But he didn't tell them that the yokes were twisted. So they obviously put all fairings back on, sent me out, and I've gone down pit lane. The handlebars are dead straight, like all the bars are in line and that, but the front wheel's pointing that way. So I'm going down pit lane, like completely on the piss.
Oh.
And I thought, there's no way I can do an hour like that. So I
Did you have
come
to
back
pull in?
in, yeah, and then like take it fair enough, undo all the yokes, do all that. And then I think we went back to like 40 odd pace, but then got back up to I think 8th or something like that.
That's mad, yeah.
But
that's
yeah,
good.
we actually had real good pace.
Yeah, oh, I love that
But
event.
it was such a good track.
It's just the
Oh.
whole atmosphere, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the flying there, the event itself,
Yeah.
like just like, did you stay at the Suzuka Hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just, that's what I
stayed
mean.
there.
The whole thing is
You
just.
just walk from the track, can you?
I know, and you're having
Walk back.
breakfast with like all your competitors.
Yeah.
It's weird that you
Chicken
like
nuggets
look
and
around
chips.
and you're like, yeah, you got chicken nuggets and chips.
Yeah.
I was like proper trying to just eat like authentic Japanese, and it was like,
Mate,
I was like, I just need some eggs. Like, is there any eggs here? Like, can we have some porridge for breakfast? It was
No,
like,
it's
there's
nothing
just,
like that. It's like
it's just like
seafood,
rice,
fish, rice.
I know. And how would you do
Yeah.
that? It was just out of your comfort zone.
I was well out, mate. I probably, what did I have for breakfast? I
It's
think
like-
jam on toast.
Yeah.
And then dinner would be like chicken nugget and chips or spaghetti bolognese or pizza or something.
That's so English
I was
as well, isn't it?
nowhere near.
That is so English. What was you doing when you was out in Spain with all the boys? Who's cooking?
All of us did really.
Yeah,
just
go
done
on.
a little bit each.
Go
Yeah,
on.
just like crack on, get a bit of pasta in. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's quite easy actually living with Taz and Taylor for a bit. We just like we got on so well, like because it's always difficult. You don't know what people's like lifestyle is or strategies
Way-
are. Of,
yeah,
like
yeah.
when they're gonna wake up, when they're gonna go
Yeah.
sleep, like what they eat and things like that. But we literally like both woke up same time, 8:30, 8:45, something like that.
That
every
is so, mate.
Literally.
Wait till you have kids.
day. Mate, every day
You're
was
done,
up, yeah.
mate. Trust me.
And then we'd have a bit of brekkie and then just go and do a bit of training, come back. Taz be like, "Oh, you want some pasta?" He's like, "Yeah, crack on."
What time did you go to bed?
Probably about 10, half 10.
Yeah, I'm a 10 o'clocker.
Yeah, I'm
I'm a 10 o'clocker, but I can get up early if I need to, but it depends what I've got on.
So I get like 9, 10 hours every day.
Yeah, you need
Sleeping.
that. Yeah. And on a race weekend, is that the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I wake up a little bit earlier in the mornings, probably 7:30.
Yeah,
Get,
because you're out
get
at
a
9
bit of
o'clock.
breakfast in and that. Yeah, but no, I'm always in bed by 10 o'clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I love sleeping.
Yeah, mate.
I like sleep.
I did love sleep, but then to be honest with you, I've always been. I think because when I was younger, I used to have to work like installing office furniture, so it's early doors,
We
mate.
done a bit grafted, yeah.
Yeah, or used to. Yeah,
Yeah.
when I left school, 16 to like 20, I think I actually grafted. Yeah.
What about now?
I don't like to get my hands dirty now. I do graft still, but I just
Did you
don't
put
get on the
this
tools. No, I didn't put this one in actually. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Is that why it's still up?
Somebody, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't sit on it. It is. And what about you? Like, if you ever, like life away from racing, like, what'd you do? Like, what's your plans? Like, have you ever thought about plans after racing, or you just like?
Not really. No, I did. I didn't really do a lot at school. You know, I always just wanted to
Because you
be
just
a
race
motorcycle
bikes, don't you?
racer,
That's
yeah.
the motivation.
And
Yeah.
people always said to me, "Oh, what are you going to do if motorcycle racing doesn't work out?" I'm like, "Well, it's gonna.
Yeah, it
Like,
has to work
it has
out,
to work
yeah.
out." But no, when I left school, I'd done like fitting windows, fascias, and soffits and that with my dad for about a year, and then ended up working with my dad and my uncle for 3 years, did like general building and that. So done that for 3 years, and then the last, I think 2017 was the last time I worked. I'd done like half a year with doing like general building that, and then like, the other half was with like Tom Ward doing car detailing, like polishing cars
So
and stuff
funny,
like that.
yeah.
We used to come up to London and polish supercars and that. It's quite good, like quite cool and that. But going into 2018, I was like, right, I'm getting a little bit of money from sponsors. I'm just gonna try and
Yeah, I
put
don't need to
everything
be
into
polishing
it.
exhausts
Yeah,
anymore,
exactly.
mate. I'm
You know
done
what I
with
mean? Done a bit of that. But I sort of felt like it's hard to, like, when you get to a certain point to do both in it, like to
I literally
don't
did
know,
that same thing.
work 9
Yeah.
to 5 or like work on a building site,
Yeah.
get back, you're absolutely knackered, and you think, right, I've got to do a bit
train,
of training
yeah.
now. Yeah. So after a few years of doing on building that, and then I had a successful year in Supersport, and then moved into Superbike, I thought, right, I need to make racing work now. I enjoyed like on the building site. It was a good crack, and
But having
there
that
with dad and
yeah.
uncle, and that was, yeah, we had a good crack. But I thought, do you know what, I want to be a professional motorcycle racer, so I need to put everything into it, because you get to a certain point in your career when you stop, or maybe you stop earlier than what you wanted to. You think, oh, maybe if I just done this, or maybe if I just done that, I might be a little bit more successful. So if you leave no stone unturned, then there's no excuse to not sort of do a good job. You know
I
what
think
mean?
there's that transition as well. Like,
Yeah.
I was the same as you in 2013. I was like, mate, I said to my dad, I said, you don't see Losey and them boys going to work and then going racing. I said, I need to really switch this over.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that year I earned like $7,000, and I was like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? I had
Yeah,
no money.
yeah.
I lived with that money. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like, I
100%.
didn't pay rent. I was at home with mum and dad.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to have been paid sort of ever since then, since 2015 it was. But yeah, man, it's hard. It's like,
hard, isn't
but
it?
people say that now to me, like, oh, how do you manage the businesses and that? And it's actually, I was saying to people, like, I have quite a lot of time to switch off now from racing. So with the business and stuff, when it gets a bit busy, it's quite nice actually, because I have that switch off from racing. And when I get there on the Thursday, you kind of drive back into that bubble, and it's like, boom, it's all on again. And it's like,
100%.
even though obviously the priority is training and keeping fit and stuff, it's like that. It really helped me switch off from racing, which for me it sort of was a hindrance at sort of some point, because I just was so overthinking racing all the time.
I found that this year, to be fair, that after sort of 2020, 2021, I had a couple of years where I was like so obsessed with, like, I had to do everything for racing. Do you know what I mean? But this year I actually sort of done the racing and had like a little bit more of like a normal person's life outside of racing. Do you know what I mean?
Nice
like,
to
switch it up and almost be a normal person. I think that's what made me even more hungry as well to succeed in racing. That I went there on the weekends and done a good job, but then also like the next weekend I'd go and meet my mates for a couple of pints down the pub and like
balance, isn't it?
It is a massive balance. Otherwise you can be so obsessed with racing, and when you have a bad weekend, it affects your whole life. Do you
And
know what I
life's
mean?
short, man. Like, let's
Life's too
face
short.
it. Like,
Yeah.
like, okay, I get you want to get to the end of your racing career and be like, oh, did I do everything? But you also want to get there and go, I've not missed that birthday. I've gone out with mates. Then I've done that. And it's kind of like, because it is a selfish game anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
But to be the best, it's like, equally, you could be down the pints having beers, but then your competitor could be training 10 hours a week or 10 hours a day, like, oh yeah, look, I'm training, and absolutely blowing his mind out. And they're not relaxed, they're not successful in that year. And it's kind of, you have to find that balance, don't you?
You have to find the balance, yeah. And it like some things like obviously work for other people. Like Jake's probably
he's quite full on with it. He
full
likes
on
it,
with training like that, but it works.
That's
for him.
That's what I'm the same.
And
yeah,
it's always it's about finding what works for you in life. What works for you won't work for me. Do you know what I mean? So I think
you don't want to sell office furniture?
I'll have a go. Yeah.
Oh, you'd be all
I
right.
can sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Then it's test. Then they'll give you 10%.
Yeah. 10%. Is that
10%. Yeah.
20.
Well, I've got a concoction of questions. Yeah, like I've basically created this. So I've had to be, I don't know, it's really difficult because there's specific stats in here and they are hard, to be fair, but you might surprise me.
What specific
So
stats?
question 1, how many BSB race wins did Shaky have?
Oh.
He must have talked about it with you.
Yeah. I think.
Do you need a tip?
I think it's 80.
I'm not going to give you a tip now.
Is it 87?
85.
85.
That was good. You were close.
I knew it was 80 something.
How many World Superbike Championships did Bayliss win?
Ooh.
TB.
2?
3.
3.
That's not bad. Close.
Close. Nice cigar.
How many MotoGP Championships did Sete Gibernau win?
1.
None.
None.
None. No GP, no MotoGP, yeah, no big boy stuff. I
No
maybe need
big
to be a
boy.
bit more specific on these questions, don't I?
Did he
But
win
I don't know. I
anything?
don't think he won any others. I don't
Did he
know.
not?
Google lied to me, maybe.
You Googled
Wikipedia
these, have you?
stitching me up hard, yeah. No, I made the question, I Googled the answer. Don't make myself look like a dickhead. But I am now anyway. Fastest ever lap of Alton Park on a motorbike.
32.9.
What about what's that actual outright lap record day?
Is it 33.6?
And who owns it?
B-Dog.
You.
I think so.
You got it. No, you have.
Have I?
33.6 is the actual lap record.
Actual lap record.
But you done a 32.9, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
qualifying.
ridiculous. Can we just talk? No, let's finish this quickly. How many BSB championships have Honda got?
Oh, good question.
Because you think they've been in it some
They've
time.
been in
Honda
it a few
UK, I
years.
mean, like Honda, yeah, Honda.
Is that like HM Plant days and
Yeah,
things like that?
Honda.
Back
Honda. Yeah.
I'm going to go a wild guess.
This might be well won.
8?
4.
Shut up.
It weren't bad, was it? It weren't bad. It was not far away. But mate, can I just talk about your last sector at Cadwell Park in qualifying?
Oi.
Like you was doing a pretty average lap up until then. What did you do,
Oi,
man? Did you just land off the mountain and go straight through the whole bends, or what happened?
Yeah, I just scrubbed it, seat bounced
Mate,
it,
honestly,
third gear.
because I was pulling in that lap, so you was out on the lap and I was pulling in. So
You had a good last sector as well.
So I was third. I think I was third at that point, but then and the team were like, yeah, you might be on the front row, and then as you were going into like the last set, yeah, you just done everyone. I don't actually get what you did.
The mountain, I literally hit the mountain perfect.
And just got over it, perfect amount of
landed
drive.
perfect, and then just
Because I actually had that bit of like that kind of like
I
tenth.
jumped, and as I landed, it just like
Just drove.
and I was like, oh, that was nice.
That was a good weekend, wasn't it? We had a bit
Unbelievable,
of, mate,
yeah.
that was funny,
Mate,
wasn't it?
your pace. It was funny because race
that
two,
yeah.
race one on Sunday. I remember you was in the lead, and I sat behind you,
Fucking pissing me off.
and I was like, any point now, I thought his tire's going to go off. His tire's going to go off any point now, and we got to start mid race,
yeah,
and I was like, he's up in the pace.
I know,
I was like, he's up in the pace. I'm getting body pumping. He's up in it. I was like, has he found this?
Yeah, I know.
was like, fair play.
Mate, to be honest
And
with
race
you,
two was good.
in that first race, I was like, my body's starting to hurt a bit now because
Yeah.
it is bloody physical,
Yeah,
innit?
it's so
And we've
hard,
done
yeah.
all that test day.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
done the
yeah,
test evening.
yeah.
We've done all the race weekend. So we've done one race, and I was thinking, cool, you're still there though. You're still hanging on. And then I was like, right, at this point, I sort of changed my strategy. It was like a few laps to go. I'm going to have to up the pace just to try and get like that second. Because once I got a second, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then I started to go. But mate,
started
all I
a
was
bit.
saying was one more lap.
Yeah.
One more lap, but I was like 15 to go. One more lap, every lap. One more lap, and then
mate, it's a
eventually,
hard race out there.
and then the second race, because you cool down, you ache because you cooled down.
Yeah.
Don't you? You stretch
Yeah.
out, you do all that, and you still think. And I literally sat there before that last race. I said to my crew, I'm not up for this. And they was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm not up for this. I'm genuinely drained.
Yeah.
I think because I won that race, the emotion of winning,
yeah.
the everything. I was like, I'm done. Like, and
The worst thing is
Then
at
you get on the
Cadwell,
grid
like
and
the because obviously we come in and do the podium and that, so you miss that
Then you
window
got
of
the
getting
race.
across the track. Don't
Yeah,
you?
that's-
so
yeah.
you have to wait around. Then you get back to your motorhome. You have time, like you get
There's
literally
no
get out your
time.
levers, add a bit of scran, then you're like,
done.
right, I best put them back on then,
I know. And
because you have to go down before the next race to get back
Oh,
down there.
mate. Honestly, yeah.
It's like,
You're gonna miss Cadwell this year.
do you know, I miss. I do
You're probably gonna miss
enjoy.
British Championship
Yeah,
in
I do
general, wouldn't you?
enjoy the
Yeah.
British tracks. I've been there for so many years now, but yeah, I'm gonna come. I might even come to round
But
one.
you probably,
know.
could, mate. At the end of the day, once you have a good career in World Superbikes, there's always an opportunity in there to come back. Like look what Leon's done, and
No, exactly.
like there's many people in there. Like once you've achieved what you need to achieve,
I
in the
enjoy the
Worlds.
championship as well. There's always good races in it. Be nice if they bring a Q tire, wouldn't it? Could you imagine that?
Well, the Yamaha would just love it. The Yamaha raced on it.
I think they got a Q front now in World Superbike.
Have they? What?
Q front.
I couldn't even imagine that because you're gonna have to push so hard to, and then they're feeling because when the rears, but when you're feeling the rear, you can manage it. When you feel the front and it's doing all this, you can't.
You don't
manage
really
that.
like it, do you?
No, because it
No,
feels
it's
like you're
weird.
going down,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
No, it's
Yeah.
going to be interesting.
And so now what? You got a 4-day test then before Assen? Did you say?
2 days in Aragon.
Nice. In the heat as well. It'd be nice and
I
warm,
don't know
wouldn't
if
it?
it'd be that hot, you know.
Oh,
March,
God.
isn't it?
I'm off to Spain tomorrow.
Yeah, you are.
Buzzing little ride
But yeah,
around.
2 days there and then 2 days at Catalonia. And then probably 3 weeks off and then, straight into
First
Assen,
race,
so,
Assen. We'll be watching, mate.
Yeah, we're up for it.
We're gonna have to get you back in to catch up maybe at the end of the season.
Definitely.
Get you back into London. We'll be on time this time,
Hopefully
though.
by then I'll have signed my Patty Yamaha.
Oh, he said it there
Straight on the
first.
box.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good though, mate.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. I'm looking forward to the new challenge.
Mate,
New chapter in my
And
life.
you just
so.
adapt, wouldn't you? Learn, grow.
Yeah.
Well, that's it then, mate. Thank you very much for coming on the pod.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming and chatting some waffle. Let's just talk about quickly the lap you got in the car. Where did you end up? Didn't Ollie, our CEO, beat you?
Yeah, he's 0.4 up at the minute.
Oh, okay.
I've got a bit more time. I've only just learnt the track.
You have. I know. Go home now.
I put the driving gloves on. That made a difference.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah, because I've got sweaty palms.
Maybe that's what the elderly people do when they wear gloves in the car. Maybe it does.
They must do.
I'm going to try it.
Don't help them driving.
I'm going to try it. Nice.
Don't help their eyesight.
Yeah, right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks, Brad, for coming in.
Pleasure.
Be sure to check out the socials and keep an eye on the podcast. See you later, guys.
Boom, boom. Danny Buchan. What a ride this is, and it is on.